Cool. So that's take one, just kind of playing just to give a sense of what's here. Maybe I'll just sort of run down, rig rundown. Yeah. So it starts here, going to the volume pedal, and comes back up to here to this new neighbor reverb. From the reverb, it splits into two, stereo, and the count of 5 is returned here, and the Empress is returned here. And before it gets to these, it gets to the direct blocks here, and then also splits. So here, splitting to here, that then get returned to here, but then also continue into the lexicon here that you can't really see in the video, but it's there. And then the lexicon is returned left and right here. So left input on the lexicon, right input on the lexicon. But you have the choice of if you just want to hear these, or if you just want to hear them be sent to the lexicon, or both. And then from there, this stuff is on the sends. And so the pre-fader send is H9 into the space, returned here, and the post-fader send is the Strymon reverb, returned here. So right now I usually plug this right into the PA, but it's going into an old Firewire Apogee ensemble. The main outs and then the aux sends are sent on another stereo inputs, and recorded in Logic, an old version of Logic. The controller is that software Lemur, and I'm basically just using it for on-off or 0 to 100. I don't know if you can see on the monitor there, but just on-off for the H9, feedback level, on-off for the space, and then whatever's set to this switch, toggling between. The row on the top controls the lexicon. And basically the way that I use the lexicon is, it's a Lexicon PCM 81, and so there's delay lines that feed reverb, and so I use it as a way to loop things. So this is the feedback for the first loop, or delay line, which is about 9 seconds, and it's just a 0 or 100. And then the same loop 2, or the second delay line, which I think is set to about 10.5 seconds, is 0 to 100. Basically, do you want this stuff to repeat or don't you? And then the sliders here are anywhere in between. If you want it to repeat a little bit or a lot, but not 100. This one is just the reverb wet dry for the lexicon. This one here is sort of if there's anything in these loops, this drops the level, I think 40 dB, so it just essentially stops us from hearing it, even if it's still going. So you can sort of turn up the reverb and cut it, and then that's the end of the loop. The way that these work, I don't know if you can see, oh yeah, I guess you can see. So since this goes into the left side of the lexicon and this goes into the right, you can then decide, because there's those 2 delay lines, if you want this one to only go to the left delay, and if you want this one to only go to the right. You can also set it up so that you can have this one go to both delays, which you would do here. You're just saying on the input, don't send only to the left, send to the left and right. And then similarly, you can do the same with this one. If you didn't want it only in the right delay, you could say center its input, and it can go to the right and to the left delays. These two are post-delay panning. So once those delays are locked in, or are happening, 1 and 2, you can say, do I want the delay that came in on the left side panned left, or do I want it in the center? And then similarly on the right side, the delay that came in on the right, hard right or center. I use that both ways. It really just depends what's happening or what this sound should be. So I guess I can play a little bit, kind of each thing. The sort of starting point, which is nice, is so just this is happening now. And the volume's up, so we're only hearing a stereo version of this, which is panned hard left and right. There's no effects except for the reverb here. So the thing that I like about this one is there's a couple of ways you can set this for how this knob reacts or how it works. And right now it's set up so that even if the pedal's on, I don't know if you can see that light on, but it's on, and the mix is all the way down. Right now we get completely dry. But what this does is it leaves the dry signal at 100% and then brings the reverb up to that. It's not a 50-50 as it brings the dry down as you bring the reverb up. You can set it to do that, but the thing that I like about this being first is that you always get that clear attack. So then as we add the reverb in, of that you want. So sometimes it's that length, but it's generally just slightly shorter and a little bit darker. It's a way to connect the sound if this one comes in slightly later, like if the pre-delay is up a bit. You can kind of hear that here. Here's an obvious example. Yeah, it seems that's a bit exaggerated, but this one seems to connect the two. get that little bit of this one just seems to connect them better. Right, so now back just to this. This one generally gets used as, let's see. Delay, reverse delay, pitch shifting. You can use it as a looper, but because it's up here, it's hard to do that and have a free hand. So I generally use it as a way to get things that are sort of lower. How many times you want it to repeat. You can sort of scroll through down an octave and a fifth, an octave, up 2 octaves. Or maybe it's just up 1 octave, but it'll keep going as it feeds back. So that's sort of a basic use for that one. This one generally ends up being sometimes just delay, but it's nice to just be able to bring something up an octave. And so there's an expression pedal down here that's connected to the mix of this pedal. So with the pedal on and the expression at 0, you just get bringing the pedal in will bring that reverb up, and depends what the sound is, but I like this into the eventide, which sounds like this. Here, and then this sent to the eventide, returned here. And so then both of these together with that low end and then the highs from here sounds like this. wraps around itself. And then this gets sent to here, return to here. So with this back end, which is just a reverb, that ends up sounding like that. And then this is just a level for how much reverb we want, or the mix. Cool. I think that'll probably do it for the first one of these. Cool.